Alright, welcome. I'm doing a 4-pack sealed. I'm going to start by sorting by rarity. Wow! Some pretty sick rares. All of them are playable. This is... wow. Before I even continue, I'm going to bust out the two mind controls. So this is a pretty ridiculous start. Just a few things about the format. You're playing a 30 card deck, opening only 4 packs. This means a few things. I'm just going to start by putting in my blue cards. Pretty sure I'm going to play, even if it is a little shallow. Because you're playing 30 cards, you tends to be very bomb oriented. You're not going to open very many, except unless you're me and open this pool, but usually only have 1 or 2 bombs, and you're a lot more likely to draw into them. So the games tend to focus on the bombs and answers to the bombs. You can also sort of rely a little bit more on some combinations of certain cards that are, like for example, Active Treason and a Sacrifice Outlet's a lot more consistent in this format, although usually you hope not to have to rely on that anyway. In the meantime, I will continue. So, Cyclops Gladiator is a little bit too red intensive. Red is pretty weak after that, other than of course the Fireball, which I may splash. This pool might be powerful enough that I don't need any splash. Looking at the other colors, in white, to go with the Vengeful Archon, whatever you want to call it, I have a double. This is a really good pool. So it may be a little less informative, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for me. So blue-white looks like a pretty good core. There's not too much card draw, but there is the Preordains, and Scry is even better in this format than it normally is, just because it when you scry for 2 or scry for 3, you're scrying into a larger portion of your deck because you're only starting with 30 cards, and it can really make a big difference. Crystal Ball is quite a bit better in this format than it is in regular sealed. Especially when you're working with a weaker pool. Pools tend to be weaker in this format. Just you're using 30 cards out of 4 packs compared to 40 cards out of 6 packs. So you have a larger percentage of your pool is going to end up in your deck in 4-pack sealed. I'm going to put back the Guy's Revenge. I don't like, even with the 2 Cultivate, I can probably end up with some kind of weird concoction. I don't think it's needed. In black, it's worth mentioning that I have Doomblade and even an Assassinate. Although I think it may be, if I'm going to be splashing, it might be stronger just to splash the Fireball. Elixir of Immortality is another card to keep in mind. It would be nice to be able to fit it into the main deck, because you are starting with 30 cards. If there's, first of all, Jace's Erasure, for example, is a lot stronger of a strategy. You usually need at least 2 meal cards, like a Jace's Erasure, maybe 2 if you're really lucky, and a Tomb Scour. But that's even as an alternate win condition, it's quite strong, because you you don't need as much help to get through their entire deck. So like Jace's Erasure plus Tomb Scour plus 1 or 2 card drawing spells, and you can actually mill them pretty consistently. So Elixir is actually a good main deck card. It's also good as a main deck card because if you're playing against a deck that happened to open a lot of removal, you may be limited on win conditions. This deck is not all that limited in win conditions, but it still might be worthwhile to run the elixir if I can fit it in. Okay, so I think I'm ready to narrow things down. I don't think I'm going to need the silver coat line. I want to play between 16 and 17 cards in my main deck. So I'm going to sort them by type. So really I'm playing a pretty controlling deck here. So things like Excommunicate get a little bit worse. They can help buy some time when they're good against enchantments. Or that green haste. The green guy that makes the forest a 4/5. It's good against that too. But I don't think I'm going to play two main, and I think that even I don't necessarily even have to play any in my main deck. Since I don't have any card drawing, it would be nice to be able to play at least some scry. I don't know if I want to play both preordains, but I think like really you want to have a consistent strategy in this format, because your games will tend to play out pretty consistently because of the smaller decks. So preordain can continue to sort of add to the consistency, and make sure my game plan can be just mind control anything that's really problematic and win with like Conundrum, Sphinx, or Archon. So Mighty Leap I don't think is needed, even though I don't have any instance. So I have no tricks during combat. I think it's going to be too situational to want to really main deck it. I can sideboard it in if I think it'll be good. Another card is Scroll Thief. I think Scroll Thief is going to work more like a Palace Guard in this deck, and Palace Guard is just better as a defensive creature. That brings me to 17 cards. I'm just going to pause it for 1 second. I gotta get a pizza out of the oven. Okay, so the other things I can think about a Whippersnell Cloak. I don't think this is going to be needed, even though it's like you basically win the game if you can get it on an Archon. I should basically be able to win the game regardless with one of my. I have enough win conditions between Archon, Sphinx, Mind Control, and some other solid creatures. I have a Griffin that can get in there as well as a Servant. So I don't know if Whippersnell Cloak is needed here. Elixir of Immortality is actually, now that I think about it, seeing my deck laid out like this, it's not going to be at its best. I think it's going to be at a sideboard card, just because it sort of has some anti-synergy with Scry. So if I'm going to be crystal balling and preordaining useless cards to the bottom, I'm not going to really want to shuffle my deck up, and especially because I don't have a lot of spells in this deck. There's nothing I can really filter my deck with unless they have a lot of removal. So if they have a lot of removal, I think about bringing it in, or of course if they're playing mill, I will bring it in. So I'm now at 16 lands, 16 cards, which is, so if I go to 14 lands, that's about 18 and a half lands in a 40 card deck, which is a little bit high, but so normally I consider going to 31 cards, but that's for a more for a weaker pool. I'll do that without big bombs. So like here, I want to improve my chances of drawing into my mind controls and my best cards as often as possible. So I think